Imagine waking up one morning and seeing money in your bank account while you sip coffee, long before you even step into your home office. That's not luck or magic. It's passive income. Most of us trade hours for a paycheck. We clock in, work our shifts, and hand over our time in exchange for money. But the wealthy engineer a different exchange. They let money and the systems they build do the heavy lifting for them. Passive income means setting up revenue streams that flow in with minimal daily input. Think of it as planting fruit trees instead of picking fruit from a neighbor's yard. Once the trees are established, they keep bearing fruit year after year. Dividends from stocks, royalties on books, automated online businesses, and rental properties all follow this model. You invest effort, capital, or both up front, then watch income trickle in without a new 9-to-5 commitment. Take dividends, for example. When you own shares in a profitable company, you're entitled to a slice of its profits. You don't need to call clients or fill out spreadsheets each morning. The company does the work. You collect the checks. Over decades, these small dividend payouts can compound into substantial returns, building wealth in the background of your life schedule. Contrast that with active income, hourly work, freelance gigs, or consulting. There's a hard cap, 24 hours in a day. No matter how many clients you sign on, there's a limit to how many hours you can work. Passive income shatters that ceiling. A single rental property can generate cash flow from dozens of tenants, and an online product can be sold thousands of times without additional sleepless nights. But don't be fooled. Passive doesn't mean effortless. You still need to research markets, set up systems, and troubleshoot hiccups. A rental property requires finding tenants, maintaining plumbing, and handling emergencies. An online course demands quality content, marketing funnels, and customer support. The wealthy simply recognize that a one-time setup, done right, outweighs a lifetime of hourly billing. Underpinning all passive streams are 3 pillars: initial investment, smart systems, and leverage. You invest money or time to create the income source. Then you design a process, hiring managers, automating ad campaigns, or outsourcing maintenance that runs with minimal oversight. Finally, you leverage external resources, bank financing, skilled contractors, or peer-to-peer platforms that amplify your reach. Shifting from an employee mindset, I sell my time, to an investor mindset, I buy or build assets that pay me, is the first real hurdle. This mental pivot demands patience, discipline, and a tolerance for short-term discomfort in exchange for long-term freedom. Having unlocked the power of passive streams, the real magic happens when you shift from collecting cash flows to owning the very assets that generate them. Ownership, whether it's equity in a business, real estate holdings, or intellectual property, places you on the inside of profit creation. You no longer just receive the fruits, you control the orchard. Let's dive into how the wealthy leverage different forms of ownership to build unshakable wealth and lay the groundwork for strategic debt use. When you own a business, through stock, partnership, or outright acquisition, you participate directly in its upside. Public companies pay dividends, sure, but the outsized gains come from controlling stakes in private ventures or small enterprises. Imagine you own 30% of a high-growth tech startup. Every new round of funding, every expansion into international markets, compounds your equity's value. You're not selling your time, you're selling a slice of an enterprise that reinvests, innovates, and attracts talent. This is why founders often become billionaires long before they ever touch their first paycheck. Real estate ownership follows a similar principle. Instead of renting your home, you buy properties that rent themselves out. Each tenant's monthly payment goes toward your mortgage and then straight into your pocket once the debt is paid. Beyond residential rentals, think commercial properties, warehouses, multifamily apartment buildings, even storage units. Commercial tenants often sign multi-year leases and cover maintenance costs, turning your investment into a low-touch, high-predictability income stream. Plus, real estate carries unique tax advantages, depreciation shields, expense write-offs, and favorable capital gains treatment when you eventually sell. Intellectual property represents a modern frontier of ownership. You write a book, compose music, file a patent, or design a software algorithm. You create the asset once and collect royalties for decades. Consider best-selling authors who earn passive book royalties long after their launch tour ends, or app developers whose code sells subscriptions around the clock worldwide. This form of ownership demands creativity up front, but once you've secured copyrights or patents, your work turns into a perpetual revenue tap. To turn ownership into a reliable wealth engine, the wealthy abide by three core principles: control and participation. They insist on equity structures, voting shares, board seats, or partnership agreements that ensure they influence key decisions, from dividend policy to growth strategy. Diversification across asset classes. They don't put all their eggs in one orchard. They balance stocks, real estate, and IP to smooth out market cycles, ensuring that a downturn in tech doesn't tank their rental cash flow. Active oversight with passive management. Even hands-off assets require governance, choosing trustworthy partners, hiring property managers, and monitoring performance dashboards. This hybrid approach keeps risk in check without reverting to day job drudgery. Now, let's explore the clever twist that propels net worth into the stratosphere. Using other people's money, good debt, borrowed at low rates, secured against appreciating assets, multiplies returns. Picture this. You buy a $200,000 rental property with 20% down and a mortgage covering the rest. Your tenant's rent covers mortgage payments, maintenance, and leaves extra income. As property values climb, your equity grows far faster than if you'd paid all cash. You've effectively turned a $40,000 investment into a stake in a rising $200,000 asset. That's leverage at work. Contrast that with bad debt, high-interest credit cards used for consumption. This debt erodes cash flow and never builds equity. The wealthy treat borrowing as a tool, not a convenience. They shop for the lowest interest rates, structure loans to match asset cash flows, and maintain debt service coverage ratios comfortably above risk thresholds. To use debt strategically, follow a simple framework. Match debt term to asset life. Align mortgage durations or loan terms with the expected cash flow life of the asset. Don't take a 30-year mortgage for equipment that wears out in 5 years. Secure fixed or capped rates. When rates are low, lock them in. Predictable interest payments make long-term planning possible. Maintain liquidity cushions. Even well-structured debt can bite during economic downturns. Keep emergency funds equal to 6 months of debt service. Reinvest excess cash flow. Instead of splurging on luxury items, channel surplus rental or dividend income into the next asset purchase, compounding your empire. Refinance when advantageous. As your creditworthiness and asset values climb, periodically refinance to lower rates or extract equity for fresh investments. By weaving together ownership and smart debt, the wealthy convert small initial stakes into vast portfolios. A single well-underwritten mortgage can fund multiple property acquisitions over a decade. A patent, licensed to dozens of manufacturers, can dwarf the royalties you'd earn from direct sales alone. Each new acquisition broadens your base, increases your negotiating power with lenders, and deepens your financial moat. Ownership isn't a passive afterthought, it's the strategic core. Passive income streams flow from it, and debt, when wielded wisely, accelerates growth without demanding more of your time. As you chart your own path to financial freedom, ask yourself, what asset will you own tomorrow? How will you ensure it works for you, rather than you working for it? By answering these questions, you'll move from the mindset of an employee to that of a true wealth creator, where money serves you, and every borrowed dollar becomes a stepping stone toward lasting prosperity. Now that you've set up passive income and gained real ownership in businesses, property, and creative work, it's time to turn those individual wins into a self-perpetuating engine of wealth. Imagine treating each asset like a model you can replicate over and over. You begin by formalizing every key step, documenting how you find and screen tenants, how you negotiate deals, how you market products or services. When every process lives in a playbook, you can hand it off to a manager or virtual assistant and free your own time for big picture thinking. At the same time, you lean on technology to keep things humming smoothly. Property management platforms notify you when rents are due and flag maintenance requests. Customer relationship tools send automated emails to leads and track conversions. Even simple chatbots can handle basic support questions for your digital products. The goal is to remove routine bottlenecks so you stay focused on growth, not grunt work. Growth often requires partnership. By teaming up with other investors or operators, you can tackle deals far larger than any of you could on your own. Joint ventures let you pool capital, expertise, and networks, whether you're acquiring a commercial building, buying franchise rights, or funding a tech startup. Splitting equity doesn't weaken your upside. It multiplies the scale of opportunity and diversifies risk by bringing in fresh skill sets. Every dollar you earn from rent checks, dividends, or royalties becomes fuel for the next acquisition. Instead of letting extra cash slip into lifestyle upgrades, you automate transfers into your investment accounts. That discipline, reinvesting relentlessly, drives exponential growth. Year after year, your portfolio compounds, and the habits you build now become habits that transform your balance sheet. Of course, growth without protection is precarious. That's why you architect legal and financial shields around every asset. You hold properties and businesses in separate entities so a lawsuit against one can't swallow the rest. At the top, you use a family or holding company to centralize control without exposing each underlying investment. You establish trusts to guard wealth against unexpected claims and to streamline how you pass assets down to heirs without hefty estate taxes. Insurance plays a starring role too. You layer excess liability coverage over standard home or auto policies so that a single claim won't drain your net worth. Key person insurance ensures that the sudden loss of a partner or top manager doesn't derail a company, and you keep liquid reserves, enough cash or marketable securities to cover 6 months of expenses, so you never have to sell assets in a downturn. Building wealth that lasts beyond your own lifetime demands more than just strong assets and safety nets. You formalize governance with an advisory board or family office, bringing in trusted advisors, lawyers, accountants, industry veterans to review strategy, track metrics, and steer the ship. You draft an investment charter that lays out your guiding principles, target sectors, maximum leverage, and social impact goals. With everyone aligned on the charter, decision-making stays clear and conflict stays minimal. Equally important is teaching the next generation to carry the torch. You create mentorship programs where successors rotate through real-world roles, inspecting properties, sitting in on board meetings, even negotiating contracts. Financial education becomes part of family culture, not an afterthought. When younger members see your successes and understand the processes behind them, they're far more likely to preserve and grow that wealth than squander it. Finally, you cement your legacy by giving back on your own terms, launching a foundation, supporting causes you believe in, or setting up donor-advised funds. Philanthropy not only delivers tax efficiencies, but also expands your influence and connects you to networks that can spark new opportunities. It ensures that your wealth leaves a lasting positive mark on the world. Through every phase, scaling, protecting, educating, and giving, you maintain a relentless focus on data and curiosity. You track return on investment down to the zip code or marketing channel, tweaking what works and cutting what doesn't. You stay plugged into industry events and mastermind circles, because your next breakthrough often comes from talking to innovators outside your comfort zone. And when trends shift or new technologies emerge, you pivot swiftly, redeploying capital into emerging asset classes so that growth never stalls. By weaving these elements together, your assets become more than sources of income. They become nodes in a living, breathing wealth machine. $1 smoothly rolls into the next project. Every legal guardrail preserves your gains, and future generations inherit not just money, but a proven system. That's how the rich stop working for money and let money, systems, and people work for them.